All right. This video, I'm going to show out how to figure out your wing. It's not like a regular D-tube wing where you have a specific tip size, and the wing is laid out according to the spar, if that makes sense. So I need some tip ribs that match this. We're going to be moving the spar back, so I can't really go off of what they have here. I need a better ruler, one that I can read. One that I can read. Let's see here. I got some good ones, but they're big. They're big. I'm going to have to get some more rulers, I think. For our root rib, we have 9 7/8. It's got to be 10 inches. Here we have, yeah, it's not right. So we got to figure out which one is not right. Which measurement? It's 1/8 of an inch off. I mean, it's not a big deal, but unless that's not right. Let's check it out. Yep, it's 10. So we will just move this forward and make the leading edge accordingly. And make the leading edge accordingly. For a nose moment, we got 8. 8 5/8. Let's see what the plans say. You might be doing something totally different. Here we got a 9-inch nose moment. So it needs to go back. What is this? What is this here? Yeah, this is correct, that size there. So the 10 needs to go back. Needs to be slid back, not forward. I cut that hole slightly wrong. But that's okay, it's nothing but a thing. Now you say, why am I working on the fuselage if I'm talking about tip ribs? Well, I got to set this all up so it works together. Got to work together. Damn. Damn thing don't want to come out of there. Okay. nothing but a thing. So we need an 1/8" stick. We need an 1/8" stick. Problems, problems. Stupid knife. Hey, Craig. Danbury Sports, yo! How's that? Yodels! Okay, so we need to do it to the other side now. Most definitely. Because there's so much stress on this area here, I'm going to put a backer inside here anyway. A belt. So it don't matter. It don't matter. So we need it this way. And it's right there. I get this straightened out. It should be okay. It's too wide. Too wide. We'll use this for the belting right here. It'll be fine. Kind of eyeball this square. It looks pretty good. Okay, do they match? Yes, okay. Now we should have 10 inches across there. Ten inches. Yeah. Okay, now I need the rib outline, and we got to start from the leading edge and go to the trailing edge. Damn. Maybe I best pin it. See, I'm figuring out the spar dimensions now, because I'm changing spar location. Dimension of the spar is going to change. And the reason I have to do that is because I'm running a 4-inch bell crank, moved a little farther back. We need a little more room in there. And I can't glue the spar. I can't build the spar out of the airplane. I have to build the spar into the airplane. So that goes there. And that goes there. Now they're calling for the spar up here. We're going to move it way back here. So I have to do some thinking on that too. How to get that to work. Okay. That's where that goes. So now I have a parameter for the wing. So we'll draw the outside of the wing here, the wing root. This is not really a good set of plans because it doesn't show me how much taper's in this wing on this set of plans. So I'm going to have to figure it out the old-fashioned way, use a ruler. Okay, so there we have the outboard, and we want the inboard side of this as well, because the spar can be no taller than that. So this is going to be an odd spar. It's going to, I'll draw a picture what it's going to look like. For clearance. And if I do that, I can just mirror that to that, so that's not a big deal. Okay, there's our wing. And that's, the spar can only be that tall. So we want to move it back to its widest part and get the difference between the leading and trailing edges here. Damn. Where's my scale? Just had the darn thing. There it is. Okay. The widest part of this is 1 3/8. And what do they got here? They got 1 inch. So I'm gaining 3/8 of an inch with the thought of how I'm going to do this spar. 1 3/8. We're going to make this, let's see here. We want the spar perpendicular to the datum line. It's going to go right there. It's going to go right there. If I set this well, I'd be slightly ahead. That's good right there. That is good right there. So I need a 3/16 notch. 3/16. Okay. I think this is smarter anyway, to move the spar back more to the center of the wing than have it so far forward. It will carry the load better. Because I intend to crank on this airplane. Blow the wings off, so to speak. I'll take a Dremel tool and sand that epoxy off there later and taper the doublers. I cannot build this fuselage until I build the spar. So I have to figure out the spar and the tip ribs. And that's what we're doing right now. So for the tip rib, you got to have this. Yep. We need to cut that spar notch first. Absolutely. Absolutely got to cut that spar notch first. Here we go again. Thanks, Mom. The only tool my mother ever gave me. I use it all the time. Try to be pretty accurate with the spar notch, because this is where the strength comes from. I mean, everything on this thing has to fit pretty tight, so you don't, no gaps, so you don't blow it apart. Of course, I will sand them together once I get this. Okay. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Where's the cap strip? Well, the cap strip goes on ½ inch out from the spar. That's why it can't be put together from the center line until I put it in the fuselage. Because of the bell crank. So that spar will go straight to the outside of the wing, then it'll drop down, and then it'll run out. So my spar inside the fuselage will be 1 inch. It'll be almost 2 inches. It'll be my spar inside the fuselage from here to here will be 1 3/4 inches. So that thing will be locked in there like a big dog. And I have to do that for push rod clearance, because this thing's going to arc around there. We'll get it as low as we can. We'll figure it out. I might make a balsa spar just to test it so I don't screw up any hardwood. I still need to get over to the lumber yard. And get some more white pine. Okay, here we go. Now this is a pretty good representation of what we got here. I mean, of the airplane, and that's the heart right there. So now we need a tip rib. Make sure this is square. Square enough. Let's do it from the inside. This sets the tip. Okay, now we need to set the spar location anyway. So we did this from the inside and the datum line. Come on. I need some clamps. What I need. I'll get a couple of clamps. Okay. The spar goes right here. Well, actually, we got to cut this off anyway. And the spar goes right there. You don't want to cut that, you just want to mark it. No need to cut the hole. Now, even though this is straight and it goes down like that, it's straight here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Too close. There we go. Back up just a smidge. Okay. This is parallel with the datum line. This is where it gets glued to the bench. So you're doing this side first, but when you turn it over, you got to have some way to mount it. So you don't want, I mean, I suppose you could, and we could just do that straight. It doesn't much matter. But you want this to match this. Let's see, or do I? Let me get a measurement on how thick that tip is. That tip is, at the highest point, 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. So, and what is it inside? Inside it's 1 inch. It'll be fine. Because this is the tip rib right here. This gets sanded down to the airfoil shape. It gets cut down to the airfoil shape. So I think I'll leave it straight and then we'll figure it out from there. That way I don't make a mistake. I won't even do anything with it. I'll just, we'll figure the spar hole out first. I just had the damn thing. Okay, guys, you're my eyes. Where'd the pen go? It was just here. You know it's looking right at me somewhere. There it is. Got to make sure to cut to the inside. Okay. Quite a bit of taper in the leading edge. Where is it? How much is it? See, if it would just tell me, or it would show a tip cutout. We could do that, but it don't. But it don't. This might take some more calculating than I thought. Leading edge, 1/4 by 1/2. No. Spar is 1/4 by 3/8. No. Spar caps, tip weight box doesn't call for it. Outboard, inboard. Let's figure out how much taper's in this wing. So here we got, let's do it from the center line. We got 3 inches, 3 inches, and at the tip we got 1.5 inches. So there's 1.5 inches taper in the leading edge. So we got to come back 1.5 inches. There we go. That'll work. Now where'd the damn pen go again? 1.5 inches taper in the leading edge. And the tip, see, I measured from the inside. Got to keep this straight. Yep, inside to inside. The tip is 6 7/8. So 6 7/8. Six 7/8 right there. Well, it don't seem like much. Pretty small. Let's see, we got it wrong. These drawings are wrong because here we got 7 inches, so it's an 1/8 inch difference between that and this measurement. Of course, probably not because of that gap there. Yeah, we'll use that measurement. So 6 7/8. 6 7/8. So we need to measure the date or the thrust wing line, which is 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. We'll get it. We're almost there. 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. is the trailing edge of the that is that measurement there, and this is the leading edge. Okay. Yeah, you see how much difference there is between this spar and this spar? This is like an inch and this is like 2 inches. So I moved it back an inch. It's actually, well, let's get them holes cut for that. So we need a half by half there. And this is 5/8 by 3/8. Oh boy, 5/8 by 3/8. So it's 3/8 this way. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Crap. What an oddball size. What an oddball size. So pen line ought to be right. So let's see what this looks like. Well, I hope, thank you, Roy. I hope you guys understand what's going on here. Everything is done off this tip rib. Looks right. Looks like I got enough tail left over. That won't do it. It's gonna have to be there. That ain't gonna do it. Now out here at the end, it's gonna have them slots, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. I guess I could cut one and see if it's the right shape. Looks right, but who knows? So spar dimensions are gauged from here to here. The problem is, well, it's not really a problem. Coming out here, I'm going to have to cut those eyes, you know, the top and bottom of the bean. So we got to take away another 1/4 inch out here. So it's going to get down there pretty thin. Of course, this one does too. But it gives me, by moving that spar back, that is 3/4, and this is inch and 3/8. So it gives me what? Another 3/4 of an inch back. I move that. So that's a good thing. That'll give me a little more clearance. Got to have some clearance, Clarence. So what determines the wing shape? This, we're going to cut the spar. Like I say, I'm going to build the spar in the fuselage. I'm not going to build the spar out of the fuselage and slide it in. It's going to be built right into the fuselage. So this gets glued to the glass. This tip rib, then the spars put in. This tip rib goes out to the end of the spar, and it lays out our perimeter of the wing, and then all the ribs are stacked in there, and then this is all cut off. This gets glued to the table, but after it's done, this all gets cut away and gets sanded to the shape of the wing. So this is the tip rib. What I normally do on these is I just cut a notch. I'll show you. I don't cut that square hole out. It doesn't matter. I just take this, just like I say, this is the tip rib, so you won't have this all this on the thing after you sand the airfoil, after you sand it to shape. So whatever my trailing edge is, I just slide it in there and it rests right there. Same with the leading edge. Looks like I got that line off a little bit. Let's remeasure this. We'll just move this down to, I mean, it's damn close. Off a pen's width. That will make it off a blade's width. That's better. So we need 2 of these. And when the airplane gets cut off the bench, it doesn't get cut along that line, it gets cut along that line, because that is the outboard or inboard tip. That is the tip rib shape that I got there. Not this line, this line. So we want to measure that again and make sure we're correct, because it's easy to fix now, hard to fix later. From inside to inside is 6 7/8. From inside to inside is 6 7/8. From here, inside to inside is 9 inches. And over here, we got 9 inches. So that is correct. So this gets laid on the bench like this. And the spar sets the taper in the wing. The spar is sticking through here, make sure it's 90 degrees to the center line of this on both sides. And boom, you got an airplane. I mean, once I get all this laid out and figured out, I mean, I got all the parts cut. It'll go together so fast. If this was a kit, it'd be flying it by now. But I do want to show in my series how to scratch build these airplanes. Scratch building brings a lot of joy because you're not using shit wood. You know, you're not using rock wood. I got my birthday present from Harbor Freight today. Woo, isn't that nice? Number set of drill bits. I got a number set at work, but they're 700 bucks. I'm not gonna use that shit here. You guys got any questions on what I covered today? Like I say, we're going to belt this, which is another piece of 1/8 inch wood in there with a hole cut out so they don't crack at the trailing edge, because these are the stress points on these airplanes, you know, right here and at the wing joint. But surprisingly enough, an I-beam airplane is super strong. Each piece is glued to every other piece, and it doesn't much matter. Happy Tuesday, yeah. Alrighty, guys, that's all I got for this evening. We got it figured and laid out. Now let's cut another one off camera, and maybe tomorrow's video will be the goofy spar I'm going to design, so that we got clearance in the center of the fuselage. Because, you know, normally it's like that, and we're going to need that. Well, you can't get that because the wing ain't that thick. So how do you do it? Well, I've sat and thought about it a long way, you know, quite a bit. And our spar is going to be shaped similar to this. This is the fuselage width here. This is a fuselage side. I know this is going to work. It's just going to be hard to do. Pretty crappy drawing, but you guys will get the idea. Our spar is going to be like that. Fuselage sides will be right there locked in. Then what lays next is the 1/2 inch thick rib on each side of that, so that locks the spar in. And then over the top of this, I'm going to put on the 1/8 inch caps. So this all become like one locked Lincoln log right there in the center. Oh, by the way, we're 3 away from 5,000. Come on, you guys. If you've just found the channel, be sure to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Just hit the subscribe button. Help me out. It's only took 15 years for me to get 5,000 subscribers. Nobody's interested in this shit. Alrighty, we'll see you tomorrow. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.